ranchers out looking to make a deal with the devil. According to their fabricated backstory, Garrett and his brother, played by Malik, had a penchant for whiskey, wild women, and worldly possessions. Despite having a hangar full of vintage muscle cars and a fleet of helicopters they used for hunting feral hogs, their entertainment cup was sadly only half full. They'd burned through a chunk of their daddy's oil fortune, and as a result, the old man had put his foot down. Despite giving them an allowance fit for a Saudi sheik, they wanted more, and they wanted it however they could get it. Garrett only hoped Garza didn't notice that he and Malik looked nothing alike. The ranger was tall and lanky, a short-shorn towhead, while Garrett was just below 6 feet, with long dark hair, a bronzed complexion, and athletic build. But whatever similarities they lacked in looks, they made up for in banter. The ball breaking between the two came off as natural, as if they'd been tormenting each other since the playpen. Malik, wearing a burnt palm cowboy hat and coyote-colored hunting shirt, was sitting up on the bow, keeping a close watch on the dark horizon. "Hell of a good night for fishing, ain't it?" "Good as it gets." Garrett gave a nod. Quiet, too. But for the occasional small wave lapping against the hull, it was dead silent. "Probably got a few minutes until showtime if you want to throw in a line." Malik gave a slow shake of his head as he scanned the shoreline. "Don't think I'd enjoy it too much given what we got on our plate." The ranger sounded a bit anxious, and Garrett knew why. Aside from the obvious danger, the operation to capture a Mexican drug lord was an opportunity of a lifetime. It could make or break their careers. Of course, that was assuming they weren't killed in the process. "This thing will be done before you know it." Garrett let out an easy chuckle. "Hell, I lay you odds we'll all be having margaritas over in Del Rio before noon." Malik swiveled around. "Think so, huh?" "Damn sure hope so." As a former Green Beret, Garrett never took odds on high-risk operations. Too many variables. Also, it was bad luck. He'd cussed more than his share of soldiers for doing just that. But Garrett needed Malik calm and collected, so he doubled down on the lie. "Oh yeah, I can taste the huevos rancheros, pinto beans, and corn tortillas right now." Malik shot a glare. "Corn, did you say?" Disgusted, he turned back and raised his binoculars. "Knew something was off about you, Kohl." Feeling as though he was living out the lyrics of a Lyle Lovett song, Garrett had to laugh. Apparently, Malik was a flour tortilla man. For some Texans, that was a personal conviction of the highest sort. Garrett was about to connect his partner's dislike of sweet tea to latent communist leanings when the ranger perked up. Malik lowered his voice. "See some lights up there." He pointed to a spot about 100 yards west where there was a break in the fog. "Think that's the village?" Garrett turned the key in the ignition, and the 600-horsepower motor rumbled to life. He clicked the throttle forward, and the motor grumbled into a grind. As they eased through the mist, he followed the halogen lights to a rusted gas pump where a couple of turquoise rowboats were tied to the rickety pier. Behind the dock were 5 cinder block shacks. The ragged curtains danced in the windows, making the place look more haunted than abandoned. Knowing it'd be a great setup for a cartel ambush, Garrett reached back to secure the Nighthawk double-agent pistol tucked into the back of his belt. He'd swapped his DEA-issued Glock 17 for the 1911 before the cross-border trip. Deep cover officers are all about the details, and carrying his service weapon just wouldn't do. It was the same reason he'd altered his appearance from rodeo rogue to well-to-do land baron. The shift in disguise had required a barber visit and a slight trim to his thick beard, taking him from ruffian to rancher in a matter of minutes. But Garrett didn't hide the sleeve tattoos of death skulls, tomahawks, and screaming Comanche warriors atop galloping Mustangs. With his faded Wranglers, twisted X-moccasins, and untucked Howler Brothers pearl snap, his look fell somewhere between cowboy and frat boy. Garrett turned his black Lone Star dry goods trucker hat backward, raised up in his seat, and took in the village. Other than the wafting stench of fish guts from the pier and some freshly burnt trash, there were no signs of human activity. He nosed the nautique up to the dock, yanked back on the throttle, and drifted up to the far end beneath a halo of yellow lamplight. Malik reached for the gnarled wood piling that jutted up from the planks and brought the wake boat to a halt. After tethering it to the dock, he turned back. "Right on time, and exactly where we're supposed to be." The ranger's voice still held a nervous edge.